You're probably noticing that I'm uploading a lot of Walking Dead stuff right now, like season 7, 8, 9, and 10A, I guess, which you're watching right now. Because I'm just trying to catch up before, the final episode. Because this is it, man. The end of my favourite show of all time. So I just want to be all caught up with everything, I guess. Yeah. Then I guess my death predictions will be next on my main channel, either Thursday or Friday. I'm not sure about Wednesday because I'll probably be streaming on Wednesday, but yeah. The death predictions will be somewhere between Thursday and Friday. Because I want to predict who will live and who will die in the final episode of The Walking Dead. But yeah, right now we'll talk about season 10A. So I've already talked about season 10B and season 10C, so I'll leave a link for those or put them on the video if you guys want to check them out after this video. But yeah. So yeah, season 10A. So I kind of found out that this was probably the last season for like Michonne, which was kind of sad to hear that because we just lost Wick and Maggie in the last season, and now we're going to lose Michonne too. And I was thinking like, I just really hope they don't kill her off. So I don't know if this was the time when we first found out, but I think by the time we got to the second half, they basically confirmed it and she was leaving after episode 13. But for her last episode, it was pretty good, yeah. I mean, I've already talked about that, so what I think of that episode of Michonne's, like a final episode, I've already given my opinions and stuff, so you can see on that anyway, because I've kind of like reviewed things separately, yeah. But yeah, season 10A was a good first half. I mean, I enjoyed this whole season really, up until the season 10C, which that wasn't really supposed to be extended until we found out like The Walking Dead was ending. So yeah. But yeah, as for this is basically when we start season 10A, basically they're training to fight against the Whisperers. They're trying to like all come together and have a proper plan to actually fight against them. For how much they lost in the last season. Yeah, so they're all trying to be together this time, so they actually have a fighting chance. And they're kind of training against these walkers that are kind of like evading basically the ocean side. So they're kind of taking them all out, I guess, together. And you got Michonne being a badass one last time, taking out the walkers in such a fire shot, yeah. And then they'll basically give us like a flashback with basically Alpha and Lydia, when Lydia was just a little girl, and just all the things she had to witness. I mean, we get a flashback in season 9 where that actually was with a group, and I think the dad was like a bad person, and I think Alpha ends up killing him, and I'm not sure if they leave afterwards, which doing like in this situation, and I think this is the place where I think they meet Beta, yeah, and he ends up joining the Whisperers, so he's obviously the first Whisperer and becomes the lieutenant, I should say, or the muscle for the Whisperers, who protects them, I guess. I'm not sure if they had a thing together like Beta and Alpha, I'm not sure. Until, who takes over afterwards when he gets a chance. Yeah. And yeah, I guess this is when they try to confront Alpha, or I think she goes to them. And if they try anything, I think basically I think Alpha shows them what will happen if they try anything. So they need to be really careful with how they do things. Because, at this point, Cal just wants revenge. She just wants to kill them, but if she kind of goes a bit too overboard, she could end up getting people killed. So I guess she's trying to be careful about it. Yeah. Which this is when we get to, I guess, what's happening in the communities with Lydia, because she's at Hilltop, right? And the way how she's acting, because basically people are like giving her a hard time because she was with the group that killed their loved ones. So when they start treating her like crap, she just ends up doing the Whisperer thing, and people try to kill her for it, and Negan's there to defend her. And then that's when I guess Negan and Lydia's relationship kind of goes as well. She ends up having a lot of people that care for her, man. And it just sort of happened to Henry because she felt bad about that too, and it just makes her hate her mother even more, because that's what she ends up saying to Negan and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, basically, I'm not sure if they fully reveal it in this first half, but basically Carol's plan is to basically free Negan, because Negan only agrees to work with Carol because he'll feel like he'll be able to redeem himself with this community, because everyone just hates him. They probably hate Lydia maybe as much as Negan, but probably equally, really. Yeah. And it's not like they get much freedom. They just have to do chores, then go back in their prison cell, basically. Yeah. But it gets to a point where I guess Negan gets to be free thanks to Carol because she makes like a deal with him. Like, if he basically does this thing for Carol, I guess he can be let go. But I think he decides to stay after what he's done. But we'll get to that anyway. Which really I've already covered it in season 10B. So yeah, but then I guess this guy ends up leaving with him, which I think I've kind of done it in the wrong direction. Because season 9, I was saying like basically he ends up killing someone who kills, well, basically a little kid who didn't seem like he'd hurt a fly, and this guy just comes out of nowhere, thinking like this is what Negan would want, and then Negan just destroys him. But basically in season 9, when he first escaped, and that was without Carol's help as well. He basically tries to go back to the Saviors, but then he finds out that the Saviors are basically done. Like the sanctuary was destroyed. I should have covered this in season 9, so sorry, because did it the wrong way around. And yeah, he's just like, man, there's not really any hope. So he just ends up going back to Alexandria as a prisoner and stuff. And then the next time he's used again is in season 10, when Carol basically needs his help to take down the Whisperers. So instead of just trying to kill them by herself and end up getting herself or other people killed, she decides to use like the technique where the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So she's basically gonna send Negan to the Whisperers. Negan will basically convince that he's not with the group, with any of the groups basically, and with how he was once the villain, he's able to convince them, and I guess Alpha lets him stay. And it's just cool to see like some of the beef we get to see with Beta and Negan, because it seems like Negan's trying to take his top spot where he becomes the new Beta basically, and he eventually gets to a point where he gets his own mask, I think that's in season 10B. Yeah. And basically they just want to have like a feud with each other, and eventually have like a fight with each other, which let's just say I preferred that fight in the comic than the TV show, because Del was basically assisting, so yeah. But I've already covered that in my reviews, yeah. I think that's season 10B, right? Yeah. And I was just like starting to trust him a lot more, basically, to the point where they kind of attack one of the places together. I'm not sure if it's Alexandria or somewhere where they hate, and not Lydia, sorry. Judith has to defend herself and actually shoots Beta with Rick's revolver and stuff, and I think Rosita's there to help Judith as well and stuff, so they can escape. I'm not sure if all that's in the first half. I'm not sure if that's the second half. Yeah. Because of how things went, I kind of get a bit mixed up. I just remember how scenes happened. I just can't fully remember in what seasons, because this Whisper storyline went on for also a long time, I guess. Just like the Saviors, but I just found it more entertaining for the most part until the ending, because I wasn't really satisfied with the ending. Yeah. To a degree, even though I'd say it's a bit better than the comic, because the comic kind of let me down as well when it came to like the final battle, the final battle. Yeah. And Jesus was kind of alive at that point still, so he already knew what to expect. So yeah. But if you read the comic, you already know how things go anyway. And if you've watched the TV show, then you already know what I mean. Yeah. But I still enjoyed the Whispers though. But yeah, so this was kind of like the last time we'll get to see Sadiq, because he ends up saving a lot of people before his time comes, because he ends up dying. And the first time I saw this, I was like, man, Carl died for nothing really, because this guy just ends up dying anyway. In my opinion, he should have survived until the very end. He at least probably was there to save a lot of people's lives throughout the years. So I guess you wouldn't say like Carl's sacrifice is a complete waste, but since he died at all, to me, out of all the characters, he should have survived. Out of all the B, C characters, like he was like the number one priority to survive. Hell, they could have like give him some really good character development, like what they do with Aaron, because Aaron was like a B character, maybe C sometimes. When he first came, C, then he became a B. He just became more badass and badass to the point where he's growing like a beard and stuff, like Wick in the comics and stuff. With the way, like, it gets to a point where he literally looks like the comic Wick. The time when they find the Whispers and stuff, he literally looks like that kind of Wick. But And he also has his, the hand and stuff. Like, my God, he became like comic Rick in season 9, Aaron, and he just became more badass and experienced. And he had his daughter to look after. He just became someone I really, really liked. At this point, he's an A character. Like, at this point, yeah. Sadiq, he died too soon, man. He didn't get to fully build up, and just to see him die at all, it makes Cal's death pointless. I feel like they should have chose someone else, because basically he ends up helping someone who's actually a spy for the Whisperers, and they end up killing Sadiq. Yeah, because he starts to realize something's up. So he does end up getting the guys exposed, and he end up killing him because to get revenge for Sadiq. But then we don't really know how much they actually know for that person being there for that long. Because I'm not sure if he also helped assisting with helping people. When it came to like treating them with their injuries and stuff. And that whole time he was a Whisperer. Well, since I guess you could say since I don't even know when. Probably sometime after the parade. Like they probably let him in. Like Sadiq trusted him, and then he ended up being a Whisperer spy the whole time. Yeah. I'm not really sure if they got any information out of him, but yeah. Sadiq ends up dying. It just sucks. And that's at the end of the first half, really. And I think at the same time, I'm not sure if they get attacked, but I guess they end up finding this guy called, is it Dante? I don't know if I'm getting the right character, but basically the guy who ends up setting up because he's the person who sets up the things for Michonne leaving the show, and Judith basically sees him trying to run away, but she, basically catches him like a badass, which is something like Comic Cal would do, and Michonne just says "good girl," because she's basically Michonne 2.0 Judith, And I guess I've already covered it, so that's all I'm gonna say. With what happens to Dante and Michonne, and how they set up like her final episode and stuff, which is episode 13, I think. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm all caught up, finally. After all this time, I finally caught up with The Walking Dead. Like, all the reviews. And just, getting ready for the final episode. So what I've got left is like a death prediction, and that's it, man. It's all over. Until, I guess, it's time to review the spin-off shows. And do the final season for Fear the Walking Dead, I guess, when that comes. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Appreciate you guys watching all this time. Watching all my Walking Dead reviews. I guess I'll cover the last one on Monday, maybe do a reaction, and then a proper review, like, maybe a day after. I'm not sure on the same night, but yeah. Guess I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace, and appreciate if you can give a like. Bye, guys.